What is the probability that something sinister is looking at you right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate what happened to me today by 8 points. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, I was driving home from my parents. They live only 10 minutes away from me, but it's a terrible 10 minutes. There are no lanterns in the village. It's Michigan in the middle of winter, and I foolishly decided to return home by the shortest but worst way. On the same road where I ran into a deer 2 months ago. It took all the money I'd been saving for Christmas to make the repairs. I was driving 2 times slower than the speed limit, constantly looking out for one of the 4-legged, white-tailed monsters. The headlights of an oncoming car shone into my eyes. She was about half a kilometer away from me, but her high beam was on. I didn't get distracted, afraid that some horned car would jump out onto the road. When I pulled up, I realized it was a pickup truck. The car wasn't moving. It was standing on the side of the road. The car's emergency lights were on. I slowed down, expecting to see signs of a collision with a deer, a dent in the bumper, a broken windshield, a fallen side mirror, and of course, the corpse of the deer itself. As I got closer, I didn't notice any signs of an accident. Now that the headlights were no longer blinding my eyes, I saw that the pickup truck was pulling a horse trailer behind it. I opened the window to talk to the driver, but soon realized that the truck was empty. "Hello," I shouted. There is no answer. Then I heard a grinding sound, then a knock. It seemed to me that someone was tapping on an overturned bowl. The sound came from behind the trailer. I looked out the windshield and saw a rope tied to the handle of the trailer. I couldn't see the whole rope, just the loop around the handle, but at the same time, I noticed that the loop knot was sliding up and down the handle. I drove closer. The sudden movement made me flinch, and then I realized what an idiot I was. The rope led to a horse standing nearby. A large bay animal was trampling on the spot by the ditch. Deciding that I was annoying her, I turned off the headlights. She kept stomping on the spot. Judging by the hoof prints in the snow and mud, the animal had been standing here for a long time. I shouted again, expecting to hear an answer from the dark field. Nothing. My gaze dropped back to the ground. I'm not a Boy Scout, but fresh snow can tell you a lot. In the red light of the trailer's headlights, I could easily make out the boot marks that the owner of the pickup had obviously left. The tracks ran along the back of the trailer into the ditch, where the red light of the headlights didn't reach. It looks like the horse escaped from the stable, and the owner came here to get it back. I felt like a detective. There were boot marks on the ground between the horse and the trailer. They led in different directions, as if their owner was shifting from one foot to the other. New prints were mixed in with them. They resembled a huge letter Y, with a line in the middle. At the end of each print, there was a small crack left by a claw in the snow. These tracks were just as chaotic, but their owner was clearly trying to stay close to the road. The owner of the pickup truck would have to pass by whoever left the tracks to get back into the car. Judging by the intertwining of human footprints, and I guess we could call it some kind of animal tracks. They walked along the road, moving away from the pickup and trailer. Their prints were mixed up, as if the owner of the paws was following a man in boots. The creature moved with the same long strides as a human. I looked back at the still agitated horse, then at the tracks behind the trailer. The snow illuminated by the trailer was red, but I definitely noticed that in some places the snow was colored in a different shade of red. Despite the lighting, it seemed to me that there were several long scratches on the horse's side. I don't consider myself a fool, and I didn't see the point in staying on the road and playing detective. Deciding to get away from the horse, trailer, and pickup truck, I turned on the headlights and drove. The horse was staring at me intently. Her gaze was like the expression on the face of a homeless man who hadn't been given a dime in a day. As I drove away, I couldn't take my eyes off the tracks left by this man, and it was unclear what happened next. 10 meters from the pickup truck, there was clearly another collision. Both chains of tracks got mixed up. A pair of dark red spots appeared nearby, then only shoe tracks remained, which continued their way. But on the snow on the side, there was an imprint about the height of a man. Both sides of the body were visible, contours. They were wide and looked like the imprint of a jacket lying in the snow. The contours moved away from the body print, leaving traces of dragging. They were also ribbed. I admit that I noticed all this in passing. It's hard to describe it exactly, but looking back, I can say with confidence that this imprint cannot be called a snow angel. I moved on, but because of the slippery road, I tried to drive slower. 3-toed footprints appeared in the snow again. They stretched for several meters and then broke off. The boot prints continued for another 10 meters and then stopped. At that moment, I stopped. My brain wanted to make sure that my eyes hadn't let me down. 2 chains of footprints, human and non-human, suddenly broke off. There was no hint of a turn or jump anywhere. Nothing. There was only pure, untouched snow on both sides. It seems that something went wrong in my head. Trying to put all the details together, I looked back at the trailer, still surrounded by a flickering red halo. The horse was still looking after me. And then something moved on the road. It was the headlights of a pickup truck. They twitched. The taillights also twitched. They dipped slightly down and then rose again, as if something pressed on the suspension. The trailer swayed. The horse was no longer looking at me. She was looking into the dark space on the roof of the trailer. The horse was trying to free itself from the rope that held it with such fury as I had never seen before. I didn't even notice when I hit the gas. I've lost count of how many times I almost drove into a ditch on the way home. One time I accidentally drove into the oncoming lane, but I never lost control. Luck and a strong desire to escape from this cursed road helped me. What is the probability that something sinister is looking at you right now? I'm staying down the path in front of the house right now. I hope the garage door isn't jammed, because now I have a tens moment. A street lamp illuminates part of the roof of my house. There is fresh, untouched snow all around. However, in the corner of the roof, I can make out a pair of footprints that break this harmony. I don't think they need to be described. I'm 9 meters from the front door. I'll probably sleep in the car tonight.